Gentlemen, please welcome the next President of the United States of America, Donald J. Trump.
Thank you, everybody. It is great to be in North Carolina. It's really a special place. I love it. Really an amazing place. And, you know, we had a great primary victory here. And I'll tell you what, it's been a wonderful experience. We've been touring the state all day. I hear we're leading in the polls in North Carolina. And come November 8th, we are going to win this state, and we are going to win back the White House. And when we do that, we are going to bring our jobs back to North Carolina, that I can tell you. And we are going to have a great victory for the people. It's going to be for the people. So we have to, and we don't have any choice, replace a very failed and very corrupt establishment with a new government that serves you, your family, and your country. And that's going to happen. Hillary Clinton represents insiders. She represents the donors, the politicians, the big banks, the multinational corporations, and everybody getting rich off a very rigged system, and we know that. She represents everyone responsible for the decades-long squeezing of the middle class. The middle class in this country has been treated so unfairly as jobs and wealth move to other countries like Mexico and plenty of others. Hillary Clinton is the chief emissary for globalism. And I'm not running to be president of the world. I'm running to be president of the United States. Running to represent America and America first, and America is going to come first from now on. It's no longer going to be in second position. Hillary Clinton is the vessel for all of the global special interests seeking to run our government and our lives, and it's not going to happen anymore. And what we've done is we've created a movement all over the country. It's like this. Look at these crowds. Look at the people outside, the thousands of people outside. Look at what's going on. All over the country, we've created a movement. And the people we are going to do and what we have done for the people, people are energized now like they've never seen before. I think we're doing records. It's called in energy, as opposed to some of my opponents. And all of the people pushing the disastrous trade deals, all of these people, they're making a fortune in Washington pushing trade deals that take jobs away from North Carolina and all these states. Those days are over. The jobs are coming back. All of the people, they're just pushing everything, but all of the people, they keep digging and digging and digging us into a hole. And I'll tell you, open borders, we're going to end. You see what's happening with our open borders. That's all going to end. The people trying to rig our financial system and our economy are the people giving their money to Hillary Clinton. Our campaign is about breaking up this special interest monopoly. I understand special interest, believe me. We are going to break up the monopoly of the donor and the special interest. We're trying to disrupt the collusion between the wealthy donors, the large corporations, and the media executives, all of whom want to keep things exactly as they are right now. Good system. And we know it's a rigged system. All you have to do is ask Bernie Sanders and you'll see, with his superdelegates. Oh, they did a number on Bernie. They did a number. And they're trying to game. You know, we have a little debate coming up very shortly, right? Right? So we had sort of a forum the other night, and that worked out very well. And Matt Lauer did a very good job. But by trying to hit Matt, they're trying to game the system, like game the ref. But I think Lester Holt will be very fair. But a lot of people are going to be watching to see if that's true. The reason why so many corporate newspapers and news anchors are opposed to our movement is the same reason why the lobbyists and the donors are opposed to the movement. Hello? See, now here's the problem. So I wouldn't pay the mic guy, right? The mic just shot. That was a weird sound, wasn't it? So I wouldn't pay the mic guy, and they'll say, isn't that terrible? He didn't pay his bills. When people don't do a good job for me, I don't pay them. It's one of those things. I don't know. My father taught me that a long time ago, and probably your parents taught you that too. Anyway, they're all part of the same political system. So they go to the same restaurants. They go to the same conferences. They have the same friends and connections. They write checks to the same think tanks and produce exactly the same reports. It's a gravy train, and it just keeps flowing. On November 8th, that special interest gravy train is coming to a very abrupt end. The insiders in Washington and Wall Street look down at the hardworking people like you, like so many people in this state, like so many people in this country. But you're the backbone of the country. And I understand that. And you understand that. You are the people that make the country run. You are the heart and soul of the nation, and you don't ever, ever, ever forget it. Don't ever forget it, folks. Hillary Clinton lifted the veil on this whole corrupt scheme when she called you deplorable and irredeemable. These insiders, the political elites, as they say, you see it. Okay, you see it. They're supposed to be okay. Believe me, I like what we have together. What we have together is special. What we have together has never been together before like it is right now in this nation's history. And when we have rallies like this, I have to say, we have rallies like this, and we have 7, 8, 9, 10,000 routinely. Those are like the smaller crowds. We were in Pensacola the other day. No matter where we go. And Hillary goes out for rallies, and yesterday I think she had 200 people. She had 200 people, maybe 300. I'll say 300 because they'll say I was wrong. What we have, folks, is something special. That's why on November 8th you have to get out and you have to vote. But that's also why on October 20th, I believe, you can go early and you can do your ballots, and you have to do it. And you have to get all your friends out, because if we win North Carolina, we're up in Florida, we're up in Ohio, we win North Carolina, we're winning. We're going to win. We're going to win. So October 20th. Clinton doesn't see you as people to serve, but subjects to rule over. Hello? Oh. Is that friend or foe? Is that friend? Her friends see you as people who aren't entitled to run this country or this government. And that's what they see. They don't want you or your family to have a voice. That's why I'm running. I am your voice. I promise I will be the greatest voice you've ever had. We'll bring our government back to the people. We'll break up the donor media industrial complex, because there is nothing so dishonest as our media. And not everybody. Not everybody. Honestly, not everybody. But a large portion of it. And it's very, very unfair. And it's bled this country dry. And that's given us all of the problems, combinations of different groups, all of the problems that we have today. Hillary Clinton is the last line of defense for a failed political establishment, believe me. And she does not have you at heart. All of their money, all of their hopes for another generation, a corruption, all of the corruption, the tremendous corruption, that's what we have vested in her. Now, I will say, we have just gotten some reports, and we're getting these phenomenal poll numbers, and they're saying that our expenditures on advertising, our expenditures on people, our expenditures on everything are a tiny fraction, and yet we're minimum tied, and we might probably actually be winning, spending a tiny fraction. Spending a tiny fraction. Now, in the old days, and for the business people here, of which we have many, if you spent less, had fewer people, did less advertising, and in one state, I think they said we did 1/50th, spent less advertising, and we're winning. They used to give you credit for that. In our country right now, with this politics, they say, well, you should have more people, you should spend more money. And I'm saying to myself, it doesn't work that way. If you can spend less and be winning, that's a positive thing, right? That's the person you want as your president, I think. The Clinton campaign exists for one reason, and that's to continue rigging. And look, you know what's going on. You know what's going on. It's rigging the system, just like she rigged the system for her donors when she was Secretary of State. What happened? What happened when she was Secretary of State was a total disgrace. So her conduct as Secretary of State, giving all of these special favors, was something like we have never seen in this country before. And then you can take a look at emails. You can take a look at all of the things that happened, all of the money that was made, all of the disgraceful conduct. It's really Exhibit A against our truly, and I can't say corrupt system because it's not a totally corrupt system. It's a system that's out of control. It's a system, it's just off kilter. We're going to put it back into kilter, folks. We're going to make America great again. We're going to make it great. We're going to make America great again. Now, I have to tell you a couple of things, because this is a group that likes jobs, right? We can talk about Hillary Clinton for hours. We can talk about the rigged system. We can talk about the 33,000 emails that were deleted. We can talk about all of the problems that our country's had. You look at her with Libya. You look at her with all of the different things. Look at ISIS. ISIS was formed in the vacuum that she and Barack Obama created. They created this vacuum, and ISIS was formed. Now she's telling us how to get rid of ISIS, right? I don't think so. Now, I don't know if you've heard, but over the last number of years, she's wanted 550% more Syrian refugees to come into the United States. 2 days ago, President Obama said, and very strongly said, that he wants 120,000, some vast number, 120,000, to come in to the United States. Look at the problems we're having now. Look at the problems that the world is having now. Look at what's going on. We can't allow it to happen. We can't allow it to happen. And it's not going to happen. Now, what is going to happen? What is going to happen, and this is so important, and I just think it's one of those things that we're going to see because it's politics. Hillary is all of a sudden going to get tough. The debate comes and she'll say, I want strong borders. I believe she mentioned the term extreme vetting. Where did you hear extreme vetting before? Only from me. Because I made up the term. I mean, I came up, I said, we need extreme vetting to come into our country. All of a sudden, she's got extreme vetting, and she's got all of these terms. Folks, it's not going to happen. And the reason it's not going to happen is because there's special interest donors. They like it when our businesses move out because they own businesses. They move to Mexico. Lots of advantages for them to do that. No advantage for our country, no advantage for our jobs. So I'll give you a couple of examples, and I think it's horrible. Ford Motor Company just announced that they're moving their small car division. Anybody hear this? To Mexico. Unbelievable numbers of jobs, tremendous numbers of jobs, and we're not going to let it happen. We're not going to let this. We lost, in North Carolina, you lost 44% of your manufacturing. NAFTA has been a disaster for North Carolina. NAFTA has been a disaster for this country. You go to Pennsylvania, you go to Ohio, you go to all of these states, you go to New York State, you go to New England. Look at what's happened to our country. We're not going to let it happen any longer. We're not going to let them take our businesses any longer, these corrupt politicians. We're not going to let them take our businesses any longer. It's not going to happen, okay? It's not going to happen. We won't let it happen. Now, we have a tremendous problem with immigration, but we have a tremendous problem with job loss. And we have a real problem with good jobs because we're keeping jobs, they're bad jobs. They're considered, we're losing our good jobs. So a couple of examples. You remember what happened in Indiana recently with Carrier air conditioning, right? They fired all their employees. They said, we're moving to Mexico. Congratulations. It was captured, this firing, on somebody's beautiful cell phone. A great thing, because if I didn't see it on the cell phone, it wouldn't have meant that much. And if other people didn't, and it happened to be just before my primary in Indiana, which I won in a landslide largely because of Carrier. So what happened? What happened is they let their employees go. They're going to move to Mexico. Tremendous, I tell you what, tremendous advantages were given to Carrier to stay. But they decided to fire 1,400 people and go to Mexico. They're building a brand new plant, and I wish them well. But here's the story, folks. This could have been stopped years ago. the politicians didn't either understand it, or if they did understand it, they certainly didn't want to do it. I actually think it's a combination of both. But what's going to happen is the following. If we had somebody, I would love to do it myself, but I'm not sure if presidents are supposed to call up the head of an air conditioning company and explain to them why they're not going to do that. But I'll tell you what, we are going to tell them in the nicest of language, Mr. President of Carrier, I'm sorry. If you think you're going to leave Indianapolis to be exact, fire all these people, get rid of everybody. We have no income, no taxes, no nothing. You're going to move to Mexico into a brand new plant. You're going to make product. You're going to make your air conditioners, sell them through our very strong border. Because, by the way, we will build the wall. We will have... No, we're building the wall. We're going to have a very, very strong border. Who's going to pay for the wall? Do you even have a doubt? No, do you have even a doubt? So what we're going to do is we're going to tell Carrier and everybody. I hate to use Carrier only but they're a perfect example. They make air conditioners, good air conditioners. I used to buy them. I won't buy them anymore. But I may never buy an air conditioner again if I win. Okay? If I lose, I may be buying them a lot, but I don't know. This is much more exciting than the real estate business, to be honest with you. But we're going to tell them that, look, if you move, we are going to charge you 35% every time you make an air conditioner and think you're going to sell it back into our country. Okay? 35%. And I'll tell you what will happen every single time, like 98%. 98%, they're going to say, well, let's go get a lobbyist. Now, I'm putting up my own money, and I'm into this thing for a lot of money, folks. Okay? I'm putting up my own money. I don't know if it's ever happened. I guess Ross Perot put up his money. But I'm putting up my money. I'm raising money from the small donors and some larger donors going to the Republican Party, the RNC, Reince Priebus, who's, by the way, doing a great job. But we're raising money for the Republican Party, but I am putting up millions and millions and millions of dollars. So if you don't go out and vote, I'm going to feel very, very foolish, I'll tell you. I'm going to say, one of the pundits said, it doesn't matter whether he wins or loses. What he's done has been amazing. It's never been done before. And you know what I say to that? If I lose, I wasted a lot of time, energy, and money. That's the way I look at it. I don't view it the way they look at it. And I will say it has been an amazing experience. But here's what's going to happen. We're going to say to them, and I have the greatest business people in the world backing me, Carl Icahn, so many different business people. And we have to use our great business people. We have to use our great negotiators on trade. And they'll say, look, here's the story. If you move, Mr. Carrier, if you move, it's fine. Enjoy your new plant. The weather's hot, but that's okay. Enjoy the new plant. But if you move, there's going to be this tax. They're not going to move, folks. They're not going to move. They're going to say, well, we're going to stay. Now, they'll stay in Indiana. They may come to North Carolina. All of that stuff is fine, right? But they're not leaving our country so easily. We can't continue to be the suckers that allow thousands of companies, millions of jobs to be lost by moving their manufacturing plants and factories to other countries. We can't do it. We can't do it. We cannot do it. So one of two things is going to happen. Either they're not moving, they're staying in Indiana or the United States. And this goes for many, many companies. There are many companies right now in North Carolina that are talking about moving to Mexico and other places. I hate to tell you, you have a job. You think you have a good job. You better get back immediately. Stop listening to this. The fact is, you have companies right now where you work that are negotiating to move out of North Carolina, okay? They're negotiating to move out of different states. And our politicians do nothing about it. And the reason is, two reasons. Number one, they're not very smart. Number two, a lot of times they're taken care of by donors and special interests that want them to move out. They have reason to have them move out, especially when you can make your product and sell it into the United States with no tax, no nothing. So either they're going to stay, which most of them will because the numbers don't work anymore when they have to pay that tax, or they're going to leave and we're going to make a fortune every time they sell something into this country. So it's okay, I don't care. But we're not going to have it any longer where our companies fire everybody, move to Mexico and other places, and then after all of that work, we end up with unemployment and nothing, okay? And they end up with great jobs, great factories. A friend of mine, and you might have heard me say this, but it happened a month and a half ago. He's one of the biggest in the world at building plants. He builds plants, big car plants, big all kind of plants. That's all he builds. If you told him build an apartment house, he wouldn't maybe know how to do it, but he builds great plants. And I said to him, how's business? Unbelievable. Really, that's good. How is it? I mean, the United States, no, not good here. I said, what do you mean not good here? He said, you got to see Mexico. We're building plants. He said to me, Mexico is the 8th wonder of the world. It's going to be the car capital of the world. Michigan is getting killed. Ohio is getting killed. A lot of states are getting killed, including, by the way, North Carolina. They're getting killed. Your jobs are being moved. Your companies are moved down to Mexico and to other places, but Mexico in particular. China is a disaster. We have a trade deficit with China, $500 billion a year, trade deficit. By the way, our trade deficit with Mexico is also massive. It's massive. But we have a $500 billion trade deficit with China. And let me tell you something, that's not going to happen with me. It's a two-way street. We got to remember, it's not a one-way street. You know, when Boeing goes and wants to sell planes to China, they make them build plants. And after those plants, and I told this to the people in South Carolina who I love, but they have a big Boeing complex. But they're now building a big Boeing complex in China. When that complex is built, and they start devaluing their currency, and they start playing around because they're currency manipulators like nobody that's ever been there, even better than Japan in their prime, and they start selling airplanes at prices that this country can't compete with, I'll tell you what, you got to be careful. But that's what's happening right now. When Boeing made their deal with China, China took their intellectual property, they took so much. And if they didn't take it, it wouldn't matter because they steal intellectual property. So I'm just saying this. I will be the greatest jobs president that God ever created. That I can tell you. That I can tell you. And Hillary Clinton doesn't have a clue. Not even a clue. Now, when it comes to the border, and some of you have heard it and some of you haven't, who has heard the snake? How many people? Raise your hands. Not too many. So that's maybe 10%. Should I do it or should I not do it? Huh? Yes? All right, I'm going to do it. I'll tell you what. To me, I love it because it's so descriptive, not complex at all, but it's so totally descriptive. We need strong borders. We can't have people coming into this country who don't love our people and love our country. That's all. And we want people to come into our country. We really do. We want them to come into our country, but they have to come in through a system and they have to come in legally. Right now, they're pouring across the borders. You know, I was endorsed by the Border Patrol agents, 16,500 agents. They've never endorsed a presidential candidate before, ever. They've never endorsed a presidential candidate. They endorsed me. I consider it a great honor. These are great people that want to have a strong border. They're told to stand back. Let people come in, stand back. We don't know what we're doing. And then to have the Syrians come in, who just today it was said they really can't be vetted. And I don't know if anyone saw, I think it was 868 people. Did you see that? They were scheduled for deportation, and instead of being deported, I don't know if they pressed the wrong button or was there something dishonest going on, one or the other. So instead of being deported, they became citizens of the United States. Almost 1,000 people. That's yesterday. They sort of hit the jackpot, didn't they? They're going to be deported. Something happened, and they became citizens of the United States. Folks, this could be the great Trojan horse. We have people coming into our country. We have no idea. They're coming in from the Middle East. We have no idea who they are. I used the term extreme. I made it up. Now Hillary is copying it. But we need extreme vetting, but we don't need anybody until we find out what's going on from these regions of the world. And we want to help, and we want to build safe zones, and we want to have other people pay for the safe zones, because right now we have $20 trillion worth of debt. It's going to be very destructive unless somebody very, very good and very, very smart and knows what he, in this case I have to say he, there's two of us, is doing. But I will tell you, President Obama has doubled the national debt. So over 200 years of debt, and in 7.5 years he's doubled it. Think of it. So we have almost $20 trillion. So we're going to get Gulf states who are loaded up with money. We're going to get the Gulf states to pay for safe zones. We'll lead the project, like it's called OPM. I do that all the time in business, called other people's money. There's nothing like doing things with other people's money because it takes the risk. You get a good chunk of it and it takes the risk. We're going to do this, in this case, from a humanitarian standpoint. OPM, other people's money. We'll do safe zones. But we cannot have these people come into the United States. We don't know who they are. We know nothing about them. You saw what happened 2 days ago. We cannot continue these policies. We have enough problems in our country. Look at what happened to Germany. Look at what's happening in France. We cannot allow this to happen. Hillary Clinton wants open borders. She wants people to pour in. Barack Obama just approved over 100,000 people 3 days ago to come into this country from Syria. We can't do this, folks. We're not going to have a country left, okay? And think about that. And then I'm going to read The Snake. Al Wilson, years ago, he wrote it. It's actually a song. Pretty cool song. But the words for what I'm talking about, because we don't know what we're doing, but actually if you sit down and think about it, we know what's going to happen. And this is what's going to happen if we keep allowing these open borders and if we keep taking in tens of thousands of people that we frankly know nothing about. And your law enforcement will tell you that they know nothing and there's no real way to vet these people. On her way to work one morning, down the path along the lake, a tender-hearted woman saw a poor, half-frozen snake. His pretty-colored skin had been all frosted with the dew. "Oh, well," she cried, "I'll take you in, and I'll take care of you." "Take me in, oh tender woman. Take me in, for heaven's sake. Take me in, oh tender woman," sighed the broken snake. She wrapped him up all cozy in a curvature of silk, and then laid him by the fireside with some honey and some milk. Now she hurried home from work that night. As soon as she arrived, she found that pretty snake she'd taken in had been revived. "Take me in, oh tender woman, take me in, for heaven's sake. Take me in, oh tender woman," cried the broken snake. Now she clutched him to her bosom. "You're so beautiful," she cried. "But if I hadn't brought you in by now, surely you might have died." Now she stroked his pretty skin, and then she kissed him and held him tight. But instead of saying thank you, that snake gave her a vicious bite. "Take me in, oh tender woman, take me in, for heaven's sake. Take me in, oh tender woman," sighed the vicious snake. "I saved you," cried the woman. "And you've bit me, heavens, why? You know your bite is poisonous, and now I'm going to die." "Oh, shut up, silly woman," said the reptile with a grin. "You knew damn well I took you in. You knew damn well I was a snake. You knew everything about me before you took me in." Very simple. Very simple. Very, very simple. Very, very simple. Very simple. So we have a situation where it's not so different. Now, let's go over a couple of things, because we have to repeal and we have to replace Obamacare. It's a disaster. I don't even have to talk about it. You know, I used to explain it, and I used to say that we have a really serious situation where your premiums are going up, your deductibles are so high you never get to use it. The premiums are through the roof. The deductibles are so high. It's a disaster. We're repealing and replacing. We're going to take care of our vets. We're going to take care of our military. We are going to take care of our vets. We're going to appoint Supreme Court justices that truly believe in our Constitution, okay? Big thing. That's a big thing. We're going to get rid of Common Core. We're bringing education locally, right? We are going to protect our Second Amendment, which is under siege. Going to protect. Totally under siege. And we're going to protect it. And the NRA, these are great people. They endorsed me. And I'll tell you what, between Supreme Court judges, Second Amendment, Obamacare, and then obviously most important, our depleted military, all of these things, we have the greatest people on earth in our military, but it's so depleted with the equipment they're getting, with all of the problems they have. We are going to rebuild our military, and we're going to take care of our vets. We have to do it. And lastly, we have some of the worst trade deals ever made, headed by NAFTA. Other countries have ripped us like you've never seen before. Vast parcels of land throughout our country, including this state, are empty with fallen buildings. Empty. Just empty. When you see it, it's so sad. You see buildings that were vibrant 30 years ago, and now those companies are gone into other countries, in particular into Mexico. And a lot of them have been closed because of what China's done to us. We are going to renegotiate our trade deals with our smartest and best business people. Those deals are going to be from horrible, job-sucking deals to we're going to reverse it. We're going to have a highway that goes in two directions, not in one direction out of the United States. We're losing our jobs, we're losing our taxes, we're losing our money, and it's getting worse, okay? Just so you understand, you think it's over. It's getting worse. In fact, it's getting worse by far. We are going to be a trader. We're going to have free trade. I believe in free trade. But we're going to make great deals instead of horrible deals. Because NAFTA and these horrible deals that were signed by numerous people, the World Trade Organization, disaster for us, the Korean trade deal, you got to see, signed by and wanted by Hillary Clinton, one of the worst deals I've ever seen. It was going to add hundreds of thousands of jobs to the United States. Instead, it's the exact opposite. And it's been a great deal for South Korea. It's been a horrible deal for the United States. So we are going to make our country so rich again. And a woman came up to me, a wonderful woman, not so long ago. She said, you know, Mr. Trump, I hate it when you're going to say, and you say it, you're going to make our country wealthy again, or you're going to make our country rich again. It doesn't sound nice. I said, well, you know, it may not sound nice, but unless we do that, we're not going to have a country left. we're not going to have a country left. So we have no choice, because we're going to save your Social Security as you have it, and we're going to save lots of things that we have, but we have a country that's essentially a debtor nation right now. So we're going to make our country wealthy again. We're going to make our country safe again. We're going to, as an example of it, she ran for the Senate in New York State, and she promised jobs that would be unbelievable for New York State. And guess what happened? The jobs didn't come. The jobs went the other way. It went down the absolute tubes. It has been a disaster ever since. That's why upstate New York, she's going to do so badly, because she made promises that she's going to bring hundreds of thousands of jobs back. And guess what happened? It went the other way. It got worse and worse and worse. It's just talk. These people, politicians, all talk, no action. With the inner cities, I say to the African-American people that have to suffer in these inner cities, what do you have to lose? I'm going to fix it. I'm going to fix it. I'm going to fix it. We're going to make it safe. We're going to help your schools a lot, and we're going to have choice, because you need choice if you're going to ever turn education around in this country. You know, we spend more per pupil than any country in the world, and yet we're down at the bottom of the list. So obviously something's wrong. So we're going to have choice. But I say, what do you have to lose? I'm going to fix it. And I'm telling you, we will get it done. And we'll stop spending money and taking care of all these people that are coming into our country illegally, and we'll start spending money where we have to spend it, okay? We'll start spending. So we're going to make our country wealthy again. And we're going to make our country strong again. Our military will be greatly enhanced. And we're going to make our country safe again. And we are going to make our country great again. Great. Thank you. God bless you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.